What if the person you cried over was the person Allah saved you from? What if the goodbye that broke your heart was actually written to protect it? You thought it was love meant to last. You saw signs, comfort, connection. You imagined a future so clearly that losing it felt like losing destiny itself. But let me ask you something deeper. If Allah controls every meeting, every attachment, every separation, do you really believe this ended by accident? No door closes without His permission. No heart detaches without His wisdom. No goodbye is random in a life written by Allah. Maybe you were holding on to what felt beautiful, while Allah was shielding you from what would have quietly destroyed your peace. Maybe you saw chemistry, but He saw consequence. You saw emotion. He saw outcome. Tonight, this is not just about heartbreak. This is about divine precision. Because when Allah separates two hearts, He is not taking something from you. He is guarding your future. You saw love. Allah saw the outcome. When you look back at that connection, you remember the warmth, the late-night conversations, the laughter that felt effortless, the comfort of knowing someone understood you. You saw kindness in their words. You felt sincerity in their presence. To you, it looked like love. It felt like something worth holding on to. But your vision was limited to moments. Allah's vision includes outcomes. You saw how they made you feel in private. Allah saw how both of you would handle pressure, responsibility, and long-term commitment. You saw affection. Allah saw patterns. You saw potential. Allah saw reality. There are things that do not appear in the beginning of a relationship. Small differences in values, subtle imbalances in effort, unhealed wounds that do not show themselves until comfort turns into conflict. In the early stages, emotions are strong enough to cover weaknesses. But over time, weaknesses begin to shape the relationship more than feelings do. Allah saw conversations that would slowly turn into misunderstandings. He saw expectations that would not be met. He saw how certain habits would begin to affect your respect for one another. What seems small today can grow quietly into something heavy tomorrow. You may have thought, we can fix it. And maybe you could fix some things, but not everything can be repaired with love alone. Some issues are rooted in character, maturity, or faith, and those things take time, sometimes years, to transform. You were choosing based on how safe you felt in the moment. Allah was deciding based on how stable it would be in the future. He saw the version of you 5 years from now, the responsibilities you will carry, the growth you will go through, the spiritual level you are meant to reach, and He knew whether this person would support that journey or quietly slow it down. Sometimes two people love each other sincerely, but their paths are not meant to merge permanently. Love is important, but alignment is deeper. Peace is deeper. Shared direction is deeper. Allah does not remove someone because He ignores your feelings. He removes someone because He understands the full story. He knows how this connection would have shaped your faith, your emotional health, and your future family. And here is something difficult, but freeing to accept. You were seeing the best moments. Allah was seeing the entire timeline. If He allowed separation, it means the ending protected you from something you could not yet see. What feels like loss may actually be preservation. What feels like heartbreak may actually be mercy. You saw love. Allah saw the outcome, and His knowledge is never incomplete. Some hearts enter your life to awaken you. Not every person who touches your heart is meant to stay in your life forever. Some hearts enter your story not to become your destination, but to become your turning point. When this person came into your life, something shifted inside you. Maybe you started taking your emotions more seriously. Maybe you began to think about marriage, responsibility, or your future in a deeper way. Maybe you even turned back to Allah more sincerely because you were asking Him for clarity. That shift was not random. Sometimes Allah sends someone to awaken parts of you that were asleep. Parts of your heart that needed growth. Parts of your character that needed exposure. Before this connection, you may not have known how attached you could become. You may not have known how much reassurance you needed. You may not have known your own fears of abandonment, insecurity, or control. Through loving them, you discovered yourself. And that discovery is powerful. Some people are not written to walk beside you forever. They are written to reveal you to yourself. They show you your strengths, how deeply you can care, how sincerely you can pray, how patiently you can wait. But they also expose your weaknesses, where you compromise too much, where you ignore red flags, where you lose balance. That awakening is a form of mercy, because without it, you might have entered your future unprepared. You might have repeated unhealthy patterns without realizing it. You might have settled for less than what aligns with your values. Sometimes Allah allows your heart to attach, not to reward you with permanence, but to educate you through experience. And lessons learned through emotion are never forgotten. It is easy to believe that if something did not last, it failed. But that is not always true. A connection can succeed in its purpose even if it does not continue. If it taught you self-respect, it succeeded. If it made you reflect on your relationship with Allah, it succeeded. If it helped you understand what you truly need in a spouse, it succeeded. Some hearts come to wake you up. They shake your comfort. They challenge your assumptions. They force you to confront your expectations about love and destiny. And once that awakening happens, their role slowly completes. The pain of separation does not erase the value of the lesson. In fact, the pain often seals it into your memory. Years later, you may look back and realize that without that person, you would not have matured the way you did. You would not have prayed the way you did. You would not have discovered the boundaries you now protect. Allah does not waste experiences. If someone entered your life and left, it does not mean they were meaningless. It means their meaning was temporary, but intentional. Some hearts stay, some hearts teach, and sometimes the ones who awaken you are not meant to remain beside you. But they leave you more aware, more grounded, and more prepared for what is truly written for you. The pain you feel now may be preventing a deeper pain later. Right now, the pain feels overwhelming. It feels sharp, personal, and immediate. You wake up thinking about them. You sleep with unanswered questions. Your chest feels heavy because something that once brought comfort is now absent. But what if this pain is the smaller storm that saved you from a hurricane? When a relationship ends, we focus on what we lost. We rarely think about what we were protected from. We grieve the future we imagined, but we do not see the future that was quietly avoided. There are arguments that never happened because the relationship ended early. There are betrayals that never unfolded. There are patterns that would have intensified with time. Sometimes the early heartbreak is a shield from a deeper, more damaging heartbreak later. Allah sees the full timeline. You saw effort. He saw exhaustion. You saw attachment. He saw imbalance. You saw potential. He saw where that potential would slowly collapse under pressure. Some relationships look beautiful in their beginning stages. because life has not tested them yet. There are no shared financial burdens, no parenting decisions, no long-term responsibilities pressing against fragile cracks. But over time, pressure reveals what emotions can temporarily hide. What if staying together would have slowly drained your self-respect? What if years later you would have felt unseen, unheard, or emotionally alone? What if resentment would have replaced affection? Those kinds of pain are heavier. They last longer. They change people. Allah sometimes allows the short pain of separation to prevent the long pain of regret. It is easy to say, we would have worked it out, and maybe you would have tried. But trying does not always mean thriving. Some people can remain together for years, while quietly losing themselves, smiling in public, breaking in private. The pain you feel now is clean. It is honest. It is temporary. It is grief for what ended. The pain you might have faced later could have been complex. Disappointment layered with responsibility, love mixed with resentment, hope slowly fading into endurance. Allah does not always remove someone because there was no love, while sometimes He removes someone because the love would not survive the long road ahead. And here is the difficult part. You may never see the disaster that was prevented. You may never know how things would have unfolded. You only see the present ache. But absence can be mercy. Distance can be protection. Endings can be shields. Right now, your heart is hurting, but it is still intact. It is still capable of hope. It is still able to trust. There are pains that break hearts permanently. There are situations that leave scars that take decades to heal. If Allah chose this ending for you, it may be because He was protecting your future self from carrying a much heavier burden. This pain is not proof that you lost something meant for you. It may be proof that you were saved from something that would have cost you far more. And sometimes the smaller wound is the greater mercy. Allah will not let you build your future on something unstable. When you love someone, you begin to imagine a future with them. You picture shared mornings, shared struggles, shared victories. You begin building dreams in your mind, a home, a family, a life intertwined. It feels natural. It feels hopeful. It feels right. But building a future requires more than strong feelings. It requires stability. And Allah will not allow you to construct your destiny on a foundation that cannot hold it. In the early stages of a connection, instability is often hidden. Emotional chemistry can disguise incompatibility. Affection can temporarily cover differences in values, priorities, or spiritual direction. When emotions are high, you focus on what feels good. You overlook what feels uncertain. But foundations reveal themselves over time. Was there consistency? Was there accountability? Was there mutual effort? Was there shared commitment to growth and faith? If those elements were weak, the relationship was already fragile, even if the feelings were strong. A house built on unstable ground may look beautiful at first. It may stand proudly for a while. But once pressure increases, through responsibility, hardship, or time, cracks begin to appear. And those cracks can slowly widen until the entire structure becomes unsafe. Allah sees the structural weaknesses long before you do. He sees whether both hearts are equally ready for commitment. He sees whether both are aligned in their values. He sees whether this connection would elevate you spiritually or quietly pull you away from Him. If the foundation is unstable, Allah may remove it before you invest your entire future into it. Sometimes separation is not punishment. It is prevention. You may have believed that love alone was enough. But love, without maturity, can turn into dependency. Love without shared direction can turn into conflict. Love without spiritual alignment can slowly weaken your priorities. Allah is not only concerned with your happiness in the moment. He is concerned with your long-term peace. He is concerned with the environment you will raise your future family in. He is concerned with the stability of your emotional and spiritual state. If something was not strong enough to support your growth, He will not let you attach your destiny to it. This can feel unfair. You may think, why give me hope if it was going to be removed? But hope is not wasted. It revealed your capacity to love. It showed you what you desire. It helped you clarify what matters most. And when Allah removes instability, it creates space for something stronger. You are not meant to struggle constantly to hold something together. You are not meant to convince someone to stay consistent. You are not meant to build a future while silently questioning whether the ground beneath you is steady. If Allah separated you, it may be because He refused to let you build your entire life on something that would eventually collapse. And when He protects your foundation, He protects your future. When someone becomes your world, Allah restores balance. There is a subtle shift that happens in the heart when love becomes too central. At first, it feels beautiful. You think about them often. You care about their mood, their words, their presence. But slowly, without realizing it, they begin to occupy more space in your heart than they should. Your happiness starts depending on their response time. Your peace depends on their reassurance. Your motivation depends on their attention. And before you notice, someone created by Allah begins to carry a weight that only Allah was meant to carry. This is where imbalance begins. Love is natural. Attachment is human. But when a person becomes your emotional center, your heart quietly shifts its reliance. Instead of turning to Allah first for comfort, you turn to them. Instead of finding stability in your connection with your Creator, you search for it in a human being. Humans are not built to be your ultimate source of security. They are limited. They get tired. They change. They struggle. And when your entire emotional stability rests on someone limited, anxiety naturally follows. You begin to fear losing them more than anything else. You begin to compromise your boundaries to keep them. You begin to ignore signs that something feels off because the idea of separation feels unbearable. But Allah sees when your heart is becoming dependent in an unhealthy way. He sees when your attachment is starting to replace your trust in Him. He sees when your identity is slowly revolving around someone else's presence. And out of mercy, He may intervene. Separation can feel like cruelty, but sometimes it is correction. It is Allah gently, or sometimes firmly, restoring balance to your heart, reminding you that no person should become your entire world, reminding you that your peace was never meant to depend on one individual. When someone becomes your world, you unintentionally give them power over your stability. Their mood affects you. Their distance shakes you. Their approval validates you. That is too much power for any human to hold. Allah loves you too much to let your heart attach in a way that weakens you. If He removes someone who became your center, it may be because He is protecting your emotional independence. He is redirecting your reliance. He is teaching you to find strength in your relationship with Him first. And once your heart is balanced again, once your peace is rooted in Allah, then any future love will be healthier. You will love without losing yourself. You will care without becoming consumed. You will value someone without making them your foundation. Because when your heart belongs to Allah first, no separation can destroy you. If someone became your world and then left, it may not be rejection. It may be restoration. Allah restores balance not to hurt you, but to protect the most important part of you, your heart. Timing is not about readiness. It is about divine alignment. One of the hardest things to accept is this. Sometimes two people care deeply for each other, yet they are not meant to unite at that moment. It does not mean the feelings were fake. It does not mean the connection was meaningless. It simply means the timing was not aligned. We often think timing is about readiness. We ask ourselves, maybe I wasn't ready. Or we think, maybe they weren't ready. But divine timing is not just about emotional readiness. It is about alignment, spiritual, emotional, mental, and even circumstantial alignment that only Allah fully understands. You may feel ready to commit. You may feel prepared to build something serious. But readiness in your heart does not automatically mean readiness in your destiny. Allah sees what stage of growth you are in. He sees the lessons you still need to learn. He sees the healing that has not yet happened. He sees the maturity that still needs time to develop. And He also sees where the other person stands in their journey. Two people can meet at the right emotional moment, but the wrong life stage. One may still be discovering themselves. One may still be struggling with faith. One may still be carrying unresolved trauma. If united too early, the relationship could suffer under the weight of those unfinished battles. Divine alignment means both hearts are not only attached, they are prepared. Prepared to handle disagreement without disrespect. Prepared to sacrifice without resentment. Prepared to prioritize faith over ego. Prepared to build together instead of leaning unevenly. If that alignment is missing, Allah may delay or separate, not as rejection, but as protection. There are connections that feel perfect emotionally, but are misaligned practically. Distance, family dynamics, personal responsibilities, or life direction may not match. Allah sees whether those factors would strengthen or strain the relationship long term. You may have asked, why now? Why did it fall apart when it felt so close? But closeness in emotion does not equal closeness in destiny. Sometimes Allah separates because both hearts need more time, more growth, more refinement, more clarity. And if reunion is written, alignment will happen naturally. The obstacles will ease. The circumstances will shift. The hearts will mature. And if reunion does not happen, it means alignment was never meant to occur. Divine timing is not random. It is precise. It protects you from stepping into something before you are spiritually stable. It prevents you from tying your future to someone who is still finding their direction. It ensures that when something is written for you, it arrives in the right season, not a season forced by emotion. You may feel ready now, but Allah is preparing you for a version of love that fits who you will become, not just who you are today. And when timing aligns under Allah's wisdom, it does not feel rushed. It feels steady, clear, peaceful. Because divine alignment never creates confusion. It creates certainty. If it disturbed your peace, it was not written to stay. After the attachment fades and the emotions settle, there is one question you must ask yourself honestly. Did this connection bring you peace, or did it constantly disturb it? Not excitement, not intensity, not obsession, peace. There is a difference between strong feelings and deep calm. Some relationships feel powerful because they are unpredictable. You feel highs when things are good and deep anxiety when things are uncertain. That emotional roller coaster can feel like passion, but in reality, it slowly drains your stability. Peace feels different. Peace does not make you question your worth. Peace does not make you constantly overthink their tone. Peace does not leave you awake at night, wondering where you stand. If you were always confused, always anxious, always seeking reassurance, that is not alignment. That is imbalance. When something is written to remain in your life, it does not continuously threaten your emotional safety. It does not make you shrink yourself to avoid conflict. It does not force you to ignore your intuition, just to maintain the connection. Sometimes we hold on to chaos because we fear emptiness. We accept emotional turbulence because we believe strong feelings must come with struggle. But Allah does not write constant instability into your destiny. He is the source of peace, and what He decrees for you carries traces of that peace. Think back carefully. Were you truly calm? Or were you always waiting for something to go wrong? Did you feel secure in their presence? Or did you constantly worry about losing them? Did your heart feel steady? Or did it feel restless? Or restlessness is often a sign. Allah sometimes removes what disturbs your peace so you can recognize what real peace feels like. When the relationship ends, the initial pain is loud. But once that pain softens, many people realize something surprising. They feel lighter. They may miss the person, but the anxiety begins to fade. The constant checking of messages stops. The overthinking reduces. The emotional tension loosens. That relief is not weakness. It is clarity. It means your heart was carrying more stress than you realized. If something repeatedly disturbed your emotional balance, it was not meant to stay permanently. Allah does not build your future on confusion. He does not anchor your destiny in constant doubt. True alignment feels steady, not chaotic. It feels secure, not fragile. It feels respectful, not draining. You may have loved them deeply, but love alone is not the sign of what is written. Peace is. If the connection consistently unsettled you, then separation may have been restoration. Not loss, but release from something that was slowly exhausting your heart. What is truly written for you will not constantly disturb your peace. It will strengthen it. True love never demands that you shrink. There is a quiet warning sign that many people ignore in relationships. The feeling that you have to become smaller to keep someone. At first, it is subtle. You adjust your words so they do not misunderstand you. You lower your standards so they feel comfortable. You silence your concerns to avoid tension. You tell yourself it is compromise. You convince yourself this is what love requires. But there is a difference between compromise and shrinking. Compromise is mutual. Shrinking is one-sided. True love does not ask you to dim your personality, suppress your values, or constantly tiptoe around someone's ego. It does not demand that you tolerate disrespect just to maintain connection. It does not require you to abandon your boundaries in order to be chosen. If loving someone made you feel like you had to reduce who you are, something was not balanced. Allah created you with dignity. He gave you principles, identity, and worth. A connection that slowly erodes those things is not protection. It is pressure. Ask yourself honestly, did you feel fully yourself around them? Or were you carefully editing your behavior? Did you feel safe expressing disagreement? Or were you afraid it would push them away? Did you feel respected? Or were you constantly proving your value? True love strengthens your identity. It does not weaken it. When someone truly aligns with you, they do not feel threatened by your growth. They do not compete with your faith. They do not resent your standards. Instead, they support them. They protect them. If a relationship required you to tolerate emotional inconsistency, repeated excuses, or subtle manipulation, then it was not elevating you. It was exhausting you. And Allah does not write humiliation into your destiny. Sometimes we shrink because we are afraid of losing the person. We think, if I just adjust a little more, things will improve. But when the adjustments are constant and only coming from you, the imbalance becomes dangerous. Allah sees when your heart is trying too hard. He sees when you are carrying more emotional weight than you should. He sees when you are slowly losing confidence just to maintain attachment. And out of mercy, He may remove what is causing that quiet erosion. Separation can feel painful, but sometimes it is the moment your dignity is restored. It is the moment you no longer have to fight to be understood. It is the moment you stop shrinking and start standing fully in who you are. Real love does not make you smaller. It makes you stronger. It does not silence your voice. It respects it. It does not compete with your growth. It encourages it. If someone required you to shrink, they were not aligned with the person Allah is shaping you to become. What is truly written for you will not ask you to disappear. It will allow you to remain whole. What is truly written for you cannot miss you. One of the deepest fears after separation is this: what if I lost the one meant for me? What if I made a mistake? What if I did not try hard enough? What if they were written for me and now they are gone? These questions can quietly disturb your heart. They make you replay conversations. They make you question your choices. They make you wonder if you let destiny slip through your hands. But here is a truth that brings relief. What is truly written for you cannot miss you. Allah's decree is not fragile. It is not dependent on perfect timing, flawless communication, or your ability to control every situation. If someone is genuinely written into your destiny, no misunderstanding can permanently remove them. No temporary distance can erase them. No obstacle can block what Allah has decided to bring to you. What is written will reach you, even if the path is complicated. Sometimes we think destiny is delicate, as if one wrong word or one difficult moment can destroy what was meant to be. But Allah's plans are not undone by human error. They are not shaken by temporary confusion. If someone leaves and never returns, it does not mean you lost your destiny. It means they were never fully written as your permanent portion. This is where trust becomes real. Trust means understanding that you are not powerful enough to lose what Allah has already decreed for you. And you are not capable of holding on to what He has not written, no matter how tightly you try. If that person was meant to stay, circumstances would have aligned, hearts would have softened, doors would have reopened naturally. There would have been clarity instead of continuous confusion. When something is written for you, it does not require constant chasing. It does not depend on you forcing it into existence. It unfolds with steadiness. This does not mean there will be no tests, but it means the foundation will not collapse permanently. If they walked away and the path remained closed, then your story does not require them. Your future does not depend on them. Your happiness is not locked behind their return, and that is freeing. Because now you no longer have to overthink every moment. You no longer have to ask yourself whether you ruined something meant for you. You no longer have to live in regret over what you cannot control. What is truly written for you will find its way to you. In the right time, in the right condition, in the right alignment. You cannot miss your portion. You cannot lose what Allah has secured for you. If someone is absent from your life today, and nothing is bringing them back, then that absence is part of the decree as well. And sometimes, the greatest peace comes from accepting this. If it was truly meant to be yours, it would still be there. This ending may be preparing you for something better. When something ends, it rarely feels like preparation. It feels like loss. It feels like something was taken from you. You focus on what is no longer there. The conversations, the plans, the future you imagined. You do not immediately see what is being built in its place. But Allah does not close a door without purpose. Sometimes an ending is not the collapse of your story. It is the redirection of it. Right now, you may only see the emptiness. You may feel like you have to start over emotionally. But what if this ending is creating space? Space for growth. Space for clarity. Space for someone who aligns with you in ways you could not yet recognize. When one chapter closes, it often exposes what you truly need. After separation, you begin to understand your standards more clearly. You recognize the qualities that matter most. You see where you ignored signs. You see where you overextended yourself. That awareness is preparation. Allah may remove someone not because you did not deserve them, but because you deserve something that fits you better. Something calmer. Something more stable. Something more aligned with your faith and your long-term peace. Many people only understand this years later. They meet someone new, and suddenly they notice the difference. The conversations feel easier. The respect feels natural. The anxiety is gone. The effort is mutual. And they realize that what they once begged to keep would have limited them. Sometimes Allah removes what is good for you now because He is preparing something better for who you are becoming. You are not the same person you were before this experience. Pain has refined you. Reflection has matured you. Your relationship with Allah may have deepened through tears and prayers you never would have made otherwise. That growth changes what suits you. If the previous connection had remained, it might not have matched the stronger version of you that is emerging. Allah sees your future self. He sees the level of peace you are meant to experience. He sees the environment you are meant to build. And He will not let you settle for less than what aligns with that future. Endings feel final, but they are often transitional. They redirect your path towards something more stable, something that does not require you to question your worth, something that strengthens your faith instead of distracting it. Right now, you may not see what is coming. You may only see what has left. But absence does not mean emptiness. It can mean preparation. Trust that if Allah removed something, it is because He is arranging something else. Not just different, but better. And when it arrives, you will look back at this ending not with regret, but with gratitude. If you are still carrying the weight of that separation, know this: your story did not collapse. It was redirected. What ended was not random. It was not careless. It was not Allah turning away from you. It was Him guiding you. Even if the guidance felt painful, you loved with sincerity. You hoped with innocence. You imagined a future with honesty. None of that was wasted. Every emotion you felt shaped you. Every prayer you made elevated you. Every tear you shed softened your heart. But what Allah writes is always deeper than what we desire. Sometimes He removes someone because they would have distracted you from your growth. Sometimes He closes a door because it would have led to silent suffering. Sometimes He allows distance because your heart was attaching too tightly to something temporary. And sometimes He separates two hearts because he is preparing something that matches your destiny more precisely. You may not see it now. You may still feel the ache. You may still question why it happened the way it did. But one day, clarity will replace confusion. One day, you will look back and realize that what felt like loss was protection. Allah does not subtract from your life without intention. He refines. He redirects. He replaces according to wisdom. Trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you. Trust that your peace matters more than your attachment. Trust that the one who created your heart understands exactly what it needs. This separation is not the end of your story. It is part of the design. And the one who designed it is never unjust.